the corner, twisting and turning inside out. Beautiful move, trying to get the shot on. He holds, he shoots, he scores! Absolutely!
The pitch, high fly ball center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Goal!
Roethlisberger gives it a lot of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
Hello to all of our Pittsburgh Sportsline fans. We are live in the Pittsburgh Sportsline studio at BPTV in the municipal building right here in downtown Bethel Park. Police stations to the right, libraries above, and the mayor's office is upstairs in the admin offices. So check it out right here. Been doing it for 11 years, come October 11th, 2011. That's a great 10th year season anniversary logo that Anthony Beltry did that, and I'm proud that he put that up for us, and I don't see it right now, but we're good to go. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all the points in between, greater Pittsburgh area in general. We appreciate all the great feedback. Thanks for all the likes on our page, Pittsburgh Sportsline. For some unknown reason, we dropped 5. Last week we had 6,957. I just checked it, 6,952.
That's still good.
Well, thanks. We got the Smoking Jim OK. What's your Facebook page have? Thank you for that. We appreciate it. I'm Alan Levine, the talking machine. I'm a bit sarcastic. That's Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, and Nick Callis, a.k.a. VIP. And we got a lot of sports and other things to talk about. And I always do my promos, and we're going to put the first one up. We'll see how we have Steve, the reigning MVP, celebrated his 5th year anniversary in June. He came back after a half a day of work at his nonprofit. We can't mention it. We don't talk about his business or him being an accountant and all that other good
Did he
stuff.
balance the book?
Well, Smoking Jim, we don't talk about what Steve does because we definitely don't know your age and what you do. Sorry, folks. I'm not picking on him. He just asked for that. Olive Oil's Pizzeria sponsors us with an XL pepperoni pizza and a steak hoagie. Today it was cut by Rico, the Puerto Rican today. Rico said to say hello and enjoy. And he has great Italian food. Frank Fanero was there. He made the pizza, so it was great. He said, hello, guys. And he goes, Smoking Jim, could you give me one of your sweeties' phone numbers? But other than that, we're going to move on. Check them out. 412-831-1900, Hillcrest Shopping Center. Can't miss it. Great pizza, all fresh ingredients. Next up, I just want to share this. I'm honored that Josh Fabus is here, first time as an intern at BPTV. And I honor his brother every week. And poor Joey Fabus died at 8 years old and with the dreaded brain cancer called DIPG. His family started the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. They've raised over $100,000 to try to find a cure. They do their special race. I think it's September 19th or 18th this year at the high school. The Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation Superhero 5K 1 mile walk and run. And I filmed it each year except when I had my kidney transplant 3 years ago. Couldn't get out of I got out of the hospital a few days before, and I had to pull a doctor's card out that I couldn't do it. So I'm back doing it. We'll do it this year. We'll have some fun. And you can donate money. They're a 501c3, as little as $1. They do different events around the area, and they've raised over this $100,000. Talked to Dr. Gary last year at Children's Hospital. He said they're on their way to finding a cure for DIPG. So we'll remain hopeful for there. And great to have his older brother Josh here doing camera work. By the way, he made me look great. Look at how I look on this camera here. You can't go wrong.
He cut off the height on your hair.
Hey, let it grow, baby. Let it grow. Azazu. Azazu, we're good.
It's all good.
No, I can take it. I dish it out all day. You could bring it on. I don't mind. All except Smoking Jim, because I don't want to bring up, I'm an honest man, Smoking Jim says. Always be smiling. The B stands for Bennett. He was a handicapped child. Always was happy, always getting along, always doing stuff. Had 2 kidney transplants. His dad, Dean, gave him his last kidney transplant. He had 2 of them. And his mother, Kristen, and Dean, after he passed away 2 years ago, they started Always Be Smiling to help other families with kids getting transplants. They raise money and do special events, and they give money. They're such a great family. They give money to families going through kidney transplants. So they're helping out in the community. They just had an event last week or so, so go to their page. Thanks to everybody that liked Always Be Smiling, because I asked you. We got them from 800 to 1,200 likes, and every once in a while another like trickles in, so thanks to all of you for liking the page. If you haven't been to the page, like it now, and we thank you in advance. Next up, we'll see what Steve can do. Let's see. There's always a little delay. Bethel Park Historical Society. Let's see what Steve did. Look at that close-up. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road. The white and red trolley is right there. You can't miss it. It's a 1905 schoolhouse right on Park Avenue there. And they refurbished it from top to bottom. All the way from the coal furnaces have been done. They put a bathroom down there. There's a community foundation, which I'm a trustee, auditorium on the top floor. They have a library there. They have yearbooks there. They got military uniforms. They have old radios there. They were showing me the other day. Bill Haberther's there. He's director. He was showing me some of that stuff. Then I had a conversation. I got to announce, and I'm going to surprise Smoking Jim. I said, I'd like to do a Pittsburgh Sportsline on location on August 11th. It's a Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Bill said, welcome aboard. I said, I want to promote your Bethel Park Historical Society, and I want to get one of those $100 bricks for the driveway for Alan Levine, the talking machine. So you'll see something first. I'll be pulling out a check and buying a brick for their driveway, which all of you should. It's a great cause, and they need money to keep doing things in the community.
He's a brick house.
That's a coming, yeah. Who sang that?
Ohio Players.
Thanks to Smoking Jim and his musical history. He loves country. But they also have a great coffee place. They have better coffee than Starbucks and anybody else. Just ask my friends. Matt and Julie started this business a few years ago. Just was in there a month or so ago. And I get my green tea there, and they give me a nice cup of green tea. So check them out there, and we'll be up there August 11th. Mark your calendars. Now you know Smoking Jim. We'll be there.
My man.
All right, let's see what Steve did. Steve is back on fire. A social worker told me about a friend of mine who's a social worker, helps some people, and this lady has kidney disease, chronic kidney disease. It was at 17%, has to go to 15% to get a kidney. I suggested she put a flyer on our show, and for a year she did it. She told us she has somebody who volunteered to give her a kidney when she needs a transplant. She can't tell us until she gets the transplant. So far I haven't talked to Kathleen, but I got to make a call in and see how she's doing. Prayers to her. And thanks for the close-up on Kathleen, and hope you're doing well, and we will talk. Next up, I mentioned the Bethel Park Community Foundation. Let's see what Steve did this time. Look at that close-up. Best close-up I've seen. Sorry, no disrespect to any of you others who've been on camera for the last 6 months or so, but that one's outstanding. Look at that, and I'm only shaking a little bit. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has, pardon me, that'll be a delay, grant money for you from $100 to $5,000 for you and your group doing great things in the Bethel Park area. Go to bpcf.org. Everybody knows about the 3 W's, so I won't repeat it again. Get an application. We just had a meeting last Thursday, and that's where I talked to Bill about doing a show there, and we had a great meeting and went over the bills and who we're donating money to. We've given out over $1 million in 26 years to help plenty of other people and groups in our community to be as good as it is here in Bethel Park. Look, a Monroeville guy in God's country comes to Bethel Park every Tuesday night, and now I'm making him come Thursday night, so Bethel must be all right. All right. Not only is Chip like to have a little fun at my expense, but Dave Cable put me on Uncle Sam. And now that Smokin' Jim knows about it, he thinks it's even funnier than my smiling face. And I want you for BPTV. Tell them Uncle Al, the talking machine, wants you for BPTV. Like new intern, Josh Fabus. Like Steve Fisher, the MVP.
Yeah.
Like Nick Callis. Like we got A1, we got A2, we got Corey, and guess what? We got Silent Ryan directing the whole show. We have an overabundance of guys. That pizza's gone. Smokin' Jim won't be able to take it back to New Kent, or I mean Monroeville, or one of those cities where he goes.
Whoops.
So you can come in if you're in high school or you just graduated from college like Josh did. You can come and be an intern.
You forgot to mention Bo,
Bo who?
the baseball star.
Well, he doesn't volunteer on Sportsline, though, does he?
He's in here
Smokin'
sometimes.
Jim, I got
He's in here
a
sometimes on
question.
Tuesday.
I got a question for you. What show does he do?
Bo knows baseball.
See, Smokin' Jim again doesn't have a clue. Bo's a good guy, captain of the two back-to-back championship Bethel Hawk baseball teams, and he does a ghost hunter show. He does not work for Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thanks for throwing that in, Smokin' Jim. Now I know less than what I started talking about on I Want You for BPTV. If you're in high school here, call up 412-831-3304. Tell Dave Cable, Al Levine, the talking machine, said you can be a volunteer here or an intern. And you can be like these guys. And A1 does his own show, a gaming show, so check out that. And we got the guys working here. I can't believe it's crowded. 4 guys in the back room, and we got 6 out here. We'll have that football game right now, 6-on-4. All right.
I'm lining up against you. I thought he meant football. I don't know why you're swinging a
I'm calling the game.
purple bat. Oh. Well,
Hey, believe me, you can tell he never played baseball.
you meant football, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why you're swinging a bat.
Yes. Well, he's not on our page, and we're going to do What's on Your Mind, Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Happy
you
birthday.
got to see Levine.
Happy birthday to Mr. Frazier.
Biggest player I know.
James Frazier. We don't know how old he is, but he's older than Smokin' Jim.
My dad was a player. But hey, Al Levine, the talking machine, can Steve Fisher hide some money for me? The Pirates been on a 7-game losing streak, and I've been cleaning up. I need to hide some of that winning.
Well, Smokin' Jim, I have to put the disclaimer.
Don't worry, football season started. You'll be broke.
I have to do the disclaimer. I work with a lot of guys in my own union with 220 guys. We had a dozen bookies, and they used to bet all the time. They wanted me to bet. I said, I only bet on horses because I can see my ticket and see the horse race. Smokin' Jim goes down to the sports book. Who knows what he does? I went there to meet somebody to do a potential show, and he's yelling out, talking machine, who you got? I I got nobody here. He goes to the sports book, laid down $10 because I had the microscope on him. He didn't put $2.50 down, so I don't know what he's betting. He has a theory that he can bet $2.50 and win $2.50, and he can lose $2.50. None of that is true, and you can verify that with the sports book. So we don't know what he's making. And in answer, Steve works for a nonprofit, and there's rules and laws. And you asked something to break what the IRS has you do. If you had a government name, you would pay taxes. Smoking Jim's not your government name. So the answer to your question is he can't even listen to it.
I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, I'm scared to watch the news. I seen in Shaler, this Jeep went over 3 cars and got stuck. And then last week in Penn Hills, a parking garage collapsed. I'm getting scared to leave God's country. I'm in Rowville. I'm getting scared to leave paradise.
Well, rumor has it you're not in Monroeville very often because you're showing you're in Erie, you're in Philadelphia, you're in Hershey. You're getting awards. Somehow you're getting awards.
It's a sign of the end of days.
Yeah. But I tell
It's
you what.
biblical. You're getting biblical,
But
Chip.
speaking of paradise, Al Levine, the talking
No,
machine.
you were.
I've been taking heat for the last 6 months. Every show I've been on, everywhere I go, I've been saying stuff. I've been taking a lot of heat. I said your starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers will be Mason Rudolph. Everybody told me I was crazy. Everybody says he's going to get cut. Man ain't throwing nothing but dimes and darts in training camp. He's head and shoulders above everybody else. This is a guy that is 3 inches taller than any other quarterback on the roster. He's 6'5". He reminded me of Aaron Rodgers when he was coming out of college. He was the #1 quarterback in the country in high school, #1 quarterback in the country coming out of college. And right now, this is a guy that will be your starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Offensive coordinator Canada already said, I agree now with Smoking Jim.
Disclaimer.
that
Disclaimer.
Mason Rudolph will be the
I've
starter.
been watching different things happen there, and it seems like Trubisky and Pickett are throwing a couple interceptions, and so far Mason hasn't thrown any, and he is looking good compared to what they're doing. So, and guess what? Is this only the 2nd week of training
Give
camp?
the brother a little credit.
I don't.
I was the first to say it.
I don't, and you'll be
Were
the
you?
last.
Yeah.
Didn't you want Pickett to get drafted, though?
Pardon me?
Yeah, he was
You want
begging
Pickett to
for
get
it.
drafted.
But
Why?
I said that the Steelers need a quarterback, and I wouldn't be opposed to the Steelers taking one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft, but I've always said that Mason Rudolph would be the starter here.
Okay.
And that's what's on my mind. Chip will back me up.
All right, Chip. First, shout out to Ralph. Hello. Amy. Hello. She said, welcome back, Nick.
Yeah, what's up?
Pete said, mention New Kensington. This is for Smoking Jim. Willie Thrower.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Tony from Chick-fil-A. Breaking news. A huge deal went down. Smoking Jim was traded for some sports facts.
Woo!
Don't say that in front of Josh.
Jim
that was good.
Ellenbogen says, problem with an unseasoned offensive line, you need a quarterback who can run. Mace's biggest problem, he'll have a wild-caught moment. So, Chip Hainer, what's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, everybody. And to be honest with you, I don't care who's the quarterback of the Steelers come that first Sunday in Cincinnati. I just want the man starting quarterback that gives the Steelers the best chance to win. We're going to find out who that is over the next month. So I'm not getting excited about it.
No disclaimer for Chip. He gave an honest opinion.
So, what's on my mind?
Yeah.
I think the NFL may have finally soiled the bed in which it lays to the point where it's going to adversely affect their popularity. The NFL has screwed up the whole situation with Deshaun Watson, and because of their inconsistencies in the way they adjudicate offenses, a federal judge ruled that Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended for 6 games. This has got a lot of people up in arms, and basically what they're saying, if they accepted this punishment, is that it's okay to sexually assault a woman as long as you've got enough money to pay them off and to buy their silence.
I have some points to bring with you on it, so carry on.
So-
I'm with you.
So you know, the interesting things in what the judge's ruling stated points to the fact that yes, there was, you know, that he is a predator, and that assaults did happen, but they weren't violent. And according to the NFL's rules of judging these, because they weren't violent, they don't warrant a heavier fine, which is basically what the judge was doing. Was she was washing her hands of this and throwing it back into the NFL's lap to see what happens. Now the NFL's over the barrel because the NFLPA has threatened a federal lawsuit, which would drag into court NFL owners like Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, and Daniel Snyder, and bring out all of the skeletons out of the closet of
What
the
about
NFL.
the fresh skeleton with blood on it?
Wait,
Ross.
I'm
You're
I'm
getting
working
to that.
my way
Oh,
to
you
it.
missed it. I'm
He
sorry.
didn't sexually assault anybody or have accusations made against him.
Okay.
But
Take that back.
so we didn't punish the owners, and it states in the NFL bylaws that the owners should be held to a higher standard than the players. So if they don't punish the owners for the same type of offenses, what justifies them punishing a player for something that
Interesting
of the
lawsuit.
like? Well, yeah, and this is going to set up for a great big mess. Women's groups, and rightfully so, should be losing their minds right now. I wouldn't be too surprised if there's an all-out boycott of the NFL because, you know, the NFL was trying to bring in women as fans, you know, because of the
Hence
number
the
of
month
women,
of October.
you know, because of the number of women that love football. So this will be interesting to see. Thursday morning, we should get the NFL's ruling to see whether or not
Yeah, they have 3 days to
Roger
appeal.
Goodell's got the balls to throw down a fine that's got some teeth to it, or either a fine or a suspension and a fine. Because as it stands right now, Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended for 6 games. He's going to lose $330,000 in salary because the Browns circumvented the punishment
Right.
by only signing him for $1 million for this year
Yeah.
on a $230 million contract that every dime of it's guaranteed. So the Cleveland Browns enabled him to pay off his accusers so that he could continue to play. So that just leads me to Jimmy and Dee Haslam, which, you know, they're right down there in the gutter with the rest of them. But, you know, as a longtime Steeler fan, you know, people are going to say, well, Steeler fans, you have no right to talk badly about what's going on in Cleveland because look what happened with Ben Roethlisberger. He had 2 accusations of a sexual impropriety, and he paid off somebody. And from where I was raised, you don't pay people off if you're innocent.
Good point.
Okay? And so if these 2 guys are paying people off to keep quiet, what are they paying to keep quiet? It makes me question that. Last but not least, Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, fined $1.5 million. They lose a first-round draft pick in 2023, a third-round draft pick in 2024. Oh, and he's suspended from his team until October the 17th. Now, how do you suspend an owner from the team? Does that mean that he's not able to write paychecks for his players or the people that are working for him? But, you know, here is somebody that clearly violated NFL rules. I don't understand why he's still allowed to own an NFL team, to be quite frank with you. He was deliberately trying to get his coach to tank that season.
Yeah.
And during the 2019 season, made contact with Tom Brady while he was under contract with the New England Patriots, trying to talk him into a deal that would have given him part ownership of the Miami Dolphins, as well as being able to play quarterback for them.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of mud hanging on the NFL, and we're going to find out just how Teflon that shield is. That's what's on my mind.
No, it'll be interesting, but I found it ironic that he misses 6 games. Right? How can that be possible? Well, I have more to bring up on that, and I'm glad you brought that up. Hey, let's see, George Malherbe, I worked with him for 36 years at the Pittsburgh Press and Post-Gazette. He's tuning in. He said, hello, Al and crew. Amy says her birthday's August 13th. Happy birthday.
Hey, Amy.
Jim Ellenbogen's coming on with too much sense tonight. He's a sharp guy, one of my better friends. Come on. They save Ben and let less-known Steelers go. Truth is about saving the stars who make the most money. Truth be spoken by Jim. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Chief said, women of Pittsburgh were not extremely upset when James Harrison beat his wife.
Ooh.
Good point, Chief.
Ooh.
Excellent. Guys are on fire.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Jim Ellenbogen said, truth, Chuck.
Ooh.
And I'll repeat it. Women will watch anything they support. We don't want to talk politics.
No.
We'll let that go. Chief is outspoken tonight. He always was at work. He had his moments. I worked with him for 30-plus years at the Pittsburgh Press Post-Gazette. Thanks for watching, guys. NFL loaded with thugs.
Well, you know what?
I'm not going to
It's,
generalize that because of one bad
the
person.
ownership group.
Well, there's a bunch of them.
The ownership group,
No.
I hold more responsible than anything else, because this was handled poorly, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
Because doesn't Roger Goodell work for the owners?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I rest your case. All right, Nick, we had a lot of stuff get brought up,
Yeah.
and we're trying to get what's on your mind. Try to focus, because you've been sending us video, which has been great. My compliments to the
Yeah.
VIP time.
I'll divert from Deshaun Watson for now, but there is an opinion coming your way. But
Oh, that's a tease for VIP time?
yeah, but what was on my mind kind of sparked before that all that went down on Monday before the news about Watson was released. So that was my teaser. But here's what's on my mind. First of all, if you go and you look online for a meme between the Phillies and the Pirates, look that up because it's funny. And it also describes...
Hold it, wait. I saw a scoreboard. I don't know if this ties in.
It does.
They flashed a scoreboard,
Yeah.
and you know the Phillies have a P sign,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the Pirates have a P sign. And I saw on the scoreboard, it said P00P. So I don't know how people misunderstand that as poop. Just saying.
I thought it was funny. And also accurately described how the Pirates were playing over the weekend because they're struggling. And this is around the time where they usually struggle mightily. And then the trade deadline happens, and then we all throw our hands up in the air and we all get sad because, you know, there's no more excitement to come. It's all going to get worse in the immediate future. But here's what I was... Because here's... Steve Sugar Cookie's good. Thank you for that.
Steve Fisher's mother brought us sugar cookies with a recipe in a murder mystery book. And he brought them in for us, and mine was delicious.
But what I was thinking about is that, you know, Smoking Jim, you know, we're also Yankees fans on the American League side.
He's
and I'm
not
watching,
supporting today.
and I'm watching, yeah, I see that. I'm watching Aaron Judge keep pace with Barry Bonds' 2001 record-setting single-season home run total, which is interesting. And then it made me think, because we're talking about baseball and like, okay, are home runs bad? Is strong run production a bad thing? You know, what's going on? And then I started to think about it because there was a stretch when I was younger for 3 years where the Pirates were really good. And the Pirates also had a league leader in home runs in 2013. It was Pedro Alvarez. And I remember just the excitement around Pittsburgh and PNC Park being loaded, the blackouts, the excitement going on. And I'm thinking, nobody at the time was scrutinizing Pedro Alvarez too much for leading the league in home runs. I remember a lot of people were actually excited because he was a huge, strong left-handed bat. So then I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, well, I'm still excited about the Yankees because the Yankees have been consistently good. And, you know, they, a couple years ago, came second and were like breaking records for team home runs. And the Twins were the ones that broke the record and got first. So I'm thinking, are we worried about baseball as a whole because home runs get boring because there's too many of them? Or is it only the teams that don't have the players good enough to achieve such run production that we start to find ourselves, you know, getting upset? Like as Pirate fans now, the players that we have aren't good enough to hit home runs like the Yankees players are or some of the other good teams around the league. True. So that's what I was thinking. I'm just like, is it because the game? Is it because it's the home runs that aren't exciting? Or is it because you root for a team that can't do that? And I get why it's frustrating, and I get why it's easy to look at the past teams of a team that was once good that you root for that now isn't, to try to prove that, like, hey, the players now aren't as good. But then again, it's like Barry Bonds and Aaron Judge are they're in sync right now with Barry Bonds in 2001 and Judge now, and nobody in New York's complaining that he's on record-setting paces. If a Pirate was on a record-setting pace, do you think any of us would be complaining? If the Pirates were in the race right now because they were scoring a bunch of runs thanks to 3 or 4 prominent home run hitters, would we be complaining about that? We didn't in 2013. So in that realm of thoughts, that's just what was on my mind. I was thinking, because again, I root for the Yankees, and I'm not complaining about how well they're doing. So is it something with just how the Pirates are acquiring talent or managing their talent that just makes us upset as fans? Is it the culture of the Pirates? Is it that some of those good players aren't getting paid enough, or it's just not exciting to play in Pittsburgh right now? Who knows? But I don't think the game's broken if there are fan bases out there who get the entertainment from the players who can consistently hit home runs.
You nailed it. Good job, Nick. Good job.
I couldn't disagree with you more. And I actually
No, hold on.
Wait a minute.
Time.
I actually find out what you were saying to be quite comical. Okay, because there's more than one way to win a baseball. Hitting home runs is not the only way to win baseball games. And if the Pirates were winning baseball games and not hitting home runs, we'd be just as excited because they were winning.
They're not doing either, though. They're not doing either of those things.
Let me finish. I let you talk, didn't I?
That was my segment.
Same respect. Okay?
This is just a rebuttal.
Oh, okay.
But
And you can rebut that.
home runs are not what make baseball exciting. Scoring runs, getting men on base, winning baseball games, that's what makes baseball
Are you going to cheer if Aaron Judge hits over 60 home runs? Are you going to be excited? Are you finally going to admit, hey, somebody did something that Babe Ruth and Roger Maris did in their time?
We'll wait and see what happens.
Oh, we got to see now. We got to
I'll
wait.
answer it quickly. I will be excited.
Am I going to have a parade down the middle of the library round?
He and I will. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I won't. I mean, great for Aaron Judge because he's going to make himself a boatload of cash because he's on his contract year, and he already turned down 220 million.
Yeah, so he bet on himself. Unlike Smoking Jim, who bets on others, Aaron Judge is betting on himself.
And he bets on the virtual coin market, too.
But you want to know the interesting thing about
does.
Aaron Judge this year? Aaron Judge had more home runs this year than Joey Gallo had hits.
Joey Gallo is terrible, though, and Judge is really good. That was my point.
Wait, he wasn't terrible when he was hitting all those home runs. All of a sudden, now he's terrible?
Yeah.
But he can still hit home runs.
But no, he doesn't. He strikes out a bunch.
All right, we're moving on. Thank you for your opinions, guys. That's why I like the opinions. And we sprinkled in some facts. And the one fact nobody brought up is during Barry Bonds' home run, adventure.
Easy.
It was brought up about a lot of clear that he was using, and I had his rookie card at 176 pounds, and his head looked like about that big. And then when he was hitting home runs, it looked like my fist. Just saying. But we didn't hear anything about that. So
Well, that's why I didn't mention him in the list, because if he hits more than the two guys that didn't use steroids that were on that list.
I assumed as much, and I think I did it correctly.
Yeah.
You did well. And that's from our 23-year-old, and our 62-year-old counteracted that, and we will continue this debate
Forever.
for a future day and time, most likely next week. But first, what's on my mind is one of the greatest basketball players, civil rights activists, greatest men in sports. Bill Russell passed away at 88 years old. Not only did he win 11 NBA titles, but in 7th games, I steal your thunder. All right.
I'll get more in depth.
Yeah, you can get it more in depth because I'll hit it lightly because I do have the important subject about the federal judge and her ruling. But I'll get into that in a minute. But here's what's amazing. A lot of guys talk about how great Michael Jordan are, other guys that have won championships. He won 21 7th game finals and he's 21-0 in championship games.
In deciding games.
Yes,
Of a series.
in the seventh deciding.
21-0.
Right. So
Never lost.
just imagine that. He was active in civil rights. I don't know if you guys knew about Boston, but we know we have racist and sexism problems in Pittsburgh. They're systemic. We've had them for years. People that don't believe it, you're ignoring it. I see it every day. Boston had things like that when Bill Russell got drafted in 1950. He wasn't very popular. Matter of fact, somebody robbed his house, desecrated his house when he went on a trip to California. So he had to make himself a likable guy on and off the court, and it took a lot of work because of how racist they were in Boston. They had segregated schools in a northern town called Boston. So this is what he had to break through. Not only did he get together with Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Wilt Chamberlain, other guys, but he fought civil rights.
Martin
Luther
King,
King,
John
they're in
Smith.
famous pictures. So Chip can cover some more of that, but I wanted to touch on that some of our, our sports heroes are truly heroes in life, not just because of their stats, whether it's home runs, singles, or other things, or pitchers. There are superstars out there and people you should want to be like. They lead you through life. On his tombstone, he wanted to only put down that he was just a man. So imagine a great man just saying, I just want to be known as a man. That's so cool. Chip can elaborate on it. Now, the NFL. Like I've always talked about, you have hypocrisy in the NFL. You have racism, sexism, everything else. What about the Washington team, whatever they're called now? What happened with Dan Snyder and how he was running his business? And look at what's happening in investigation with that. The NFL screwed up everything from Ray Rice with suspensions. I have no tolerance for any type of abuse to women, men, animals, children, men on men, anything. I have no tolerance for it. Now, we have a sport that has shown they have a certain tolerance. I can bet $1,500 that I shouldn't have bet because I'm not the brightest football player and I'm injured. And guess what? I'm out for a whole year. That's 17 games.
Good point.
Now, how can you not think about that?
Good point.
I have 3 sisters, a daughter, had a great mother, know plenty of women. I'm pro-women and their rights. And you have a predator. The judge in her statement said he was egregious in his behavior, and if he ever gets massages again, listen to this, it's supposed to be under supervision of the team before he can do that. What does that tell you about the character of Deshaun Watson?
Well, will the team provide him with the non-disclosure agreements for the masseuse to sign?
Who knows? But I mean, the judge ruled, and she was a federal judge, and look why she got hired. And here's what's so corrupt. I always tell people, like Smoking Jim, when people tell you you're going to be a millionaire in 5 years,
Yes, sir.
and you only got 3.5 to go, and you only made $3,000, which is great for a normal person, that you got to follow the money. How about the NFL decided to have an outside person rule on this case? And yet they're paying her. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm getting paid for money and I work for somebody, I do what they want me to do.
Problem with part of that is that she was basing her decisions on past precedent.
That's why I'm combining the.
With-
that's why I'm putting
with-
up
with
who
way
got.
the NFL
On
has,
Chip's point, he beat me to it like I beat him to his stuff. The point is, they're paying for her to make decisions that they screwed up. I mean, straight up. Who can say that they've given out the right disciplinary punishments? I know I can't. I think they're hypocrites. So she, in her wisdom, said because it was a nonviolent crime. Now, I assume judges are smart, but if you have sexual assault cases, 24 of them, and they were confirmed, and he settled with 20 of them or 23 of them now.
23 of them.
I just saw that the other day. 23 cases he settled out of court. The judge did not say he was innocent. So if you're guilty, you went against the NFL rules with this sexual assault, and a judge goes with her wisdom that the most we've ever suspended anybody, except for the player who bet $1,500, because that happened this year, was 6 games.
Explain to me what part I have a hard time wrapping my arms around is how does a man force a woman to have sex with him against her will, and it's not violent, just because he didn't strike her, just because he didn't.
Well,
Like
here's what I would
understand.
No, here's what I would
don't
tell you.
understand
You're
that.
a well-read, smart guy, and you would bring up semantics. That they're using semantics here because it is what it seems to be. There's an eye test. If you're forcing somebody to do that and it's a sexual assault, you can't say it's nonviolent. And she said that. She also said that I'm going to give him the largest suspension that they've had in NFL history. Let me go back 2 steps. The NFL hired her because they screwed up most of those cases. So now we have the NFL came out and said before the decision they wouldn't appeal. Everybody on ESPN.
No, the NFLPA said that.
Okay, well, yeah, I just took it as NFL. The NFLPA said that, but everybody on ESPN said that the word was the NFL wanted a 1-year suspension, hence the Browns signed him for a 1-year, $1 million contract out of $230 million. Wow. There's collusion again. There's corruption again. You can look up those words, smoking, but there's a problem there with the whole system. And if they don't appeal, I think they should go definitely to Congress and get them to take the nonprofit status off of the NFL so they can pay taxes on all the billions that they get away with not paying any taxes like my co-host. So we'll end it on that happy note, and we're going to go to Fiction and Fact with Smokin' Jim's Almanac in 10 seconds.
Thanks, Sugar Man. L. Levine, the talking machine. I tell you what, man.
What?
I'm stepping all on everybody's toes today. I had to talk briefly about Bill Russell. I know my man Chip. I had a feeling he was going to be talking to it. I didn't get a chance to interview Bill Russell. One of my regrets. I interviewed Earl Lloyd, Connie Hawkins, Norm Van Leer, many other NBA legends. Cool. But people don't realize Bill Russell was probably the most underrated superstar in NFL and NBA history. He got cut from his 9th grade basketball team. He was getting ready to get cut from his 10th grade basketball team, but they seen his work ethic was so great. He won a state championship as a junior, won a national championship as a senior in high school, won 2 national championships, NCAA championships in college at San Francisco University. He was captain in the 1956 Olympic team that won the gold medal. And I tell you what, L. Levine, the talking machine, if you look at his stats, 15 points a game, 22 rebounds a game, and 4.3 assists. There's many, many seasons he had over 1,000 rebounds. Shots? The block shots, he could run all day. He had a wingspan of somebody 7'4". And here's a stat, and I'll go to Chip after that. 5-time NBA MVP, 11 championships in 13 years, underrated superstar Bill Russell. My only regret is I didn't seek out an interview with Bill Russell.
Wow. Thank you, Smokin' Jim Frazier. And we got to go to trivia time with Chip Hayner in 10 seconds.
Now, and
The clapper's working.
More about Bill Russell. and without any question of a doubt, hands down, the greatest center to ever play the game of basketball.
Come on now.
Come on. The proof is right here, Jim. 13 years he was in the league. He won 11 championships. Nobody else can even come close to that. He was, just to give you a list of his accomplishments, Jim touched on some of them. An 11-time NBA champion, 5-time most valuable player, 12-time NBA All-Star, NBA All-Star Game MVP in 1963, 3-time All-NBA First Team, 8-time All-NBA Second Team, NBA All-Defensive First Team, 4-time NBA Rebounding Champion. His career statistics with rebounds, for his career, he averaged 22.5 rebounds per game.
Incredible.
Okay? 4.3 assists, 15.1 points. You put those stats up. Wilt Chamberlain may have grabbed a lot of headlines, scored a lot of points, didn't win a lot of championships.
Well, I just want to interrupt you. In my opinion, Wilt was a better all-around athlete, but when they competed, the best was Bill Russell.
Oh, Will killed him almost every time. Come on, man.
No, but Bill won the game.
Facts are the facts.
Facts are the facts.
Will killed
13 seasons he played, 11 times they won a championship. Those are the facts, and they're indisputed.
He's a champion.
4-time NBA rebounding champion, NBA Lifetime Achievement Award, 2017, NBA Anniversary Team, 25th, the 35th, the 50th, and the 75th. Number 6, retired by the Celtics, 2-time NCAA champion, NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player in 1955, UPI College Player of the Year 1956, 2 times Helms Player of the Year, 55 and 56, 2 times Consensus First Team All-American, West Coast Conference Player of the Year 1956, 3 times First Team All West Coast Conference. Number 6, retired by the San Francisco Dons. The list of accomplishments goes on and on. Won a gold medal with the United States. When winning a gold medal
meant something.
Because these were amateur athletes that were playing against professionals. Okay, and it's different now where we've got
everybody,
the best players in the world playing against you
name it.
Scrubs. But despite that, Russell played in the wake of black pioneers, Earl Lloyd, Chuck Cooper, Sweetwater Clifton, and he was the first black player to achieve superstar status in the NBA. He also served 3 seasons as a player coach for the Celtics, becoming the first black coach in the NBA and the first to win a championship. So, Bill Russell did more.
I got one more thing for you.
The game of basketball, but he did more outside of the game of basketball
that's very true.
To help with the civil rights cause as well.
Well, you mentioned Chuck Cooper, local star from here, first in the NBA. Bill Russell got in the Hall of Fame. He refused to take his Hall of Fame award for 40 years. He said, I wasn't the first black man in the NBA. They should be honored before me with the Hall of Fame. And he held out till Chuck Cooper, may he rest in peace, got his Hall of Fame. Then he accepted it in his house that he got the Hall of Fame. What kind of man and character does that?
Well, that's a man of character does that.
Well, Earl Lloyd was the first, but Chuck Cooper was the first to get drafted. Earl Lloyd was the first to play.
Well, I didn't say play.
Okay.
Yeah.
They came out the same year with
Sweetwater. You're in the NBA if you get drafted, right? That's what my statement was. It was a broad one, not specific.
I'm glad he's given any facts, though. I mean,
no, it's unusual that when you hit him with something that he cares about.
It just rubbed him the wrong way when I said that Bill Russell was
Bill
the
Russell,
greatest center that played.
And Bill Russell was the first black coach to get fired. You've left that out.
Well, yeah.
Hold it, Mr. Negativity strikes again.
Let me tell you something. There hasn't been a coach yet that's been hired that hasn't been fired.
Bill Cowher didn't get fired.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but people couldn't show him the door fast enough. And you know that to be true.
Yeah. Jim Ellenbogen put in the one thing when I was talking about people getting paid. He said, I forgot that the ladies were paid off to not testify. That was part about the money that he settled those cases, Jim. So I'll stand partially corrected on it. I didn't state it straight
Jimmy
up.
and Dee Haslam were the ones that made sure he had the money to pay them off.
Well, we know that.
Because, some people have said that he voluntarily sat out last year. But what people fail to realize, he sat out last year because he didn't want to play for the Texans. And he decided that long before this became public.
Sure.
And besides that, he got paid $10.5 million to not play for the Texans last year. So he wasn't suspended last year.
No, exactly.
He did that, but he got paid.
No, those are the facts. All right, we got to go to VIP time.
I told you. I told all of you. I did. A couple months ago, when Deshaun Watson signed the deal, I said this is going to reshape the NFL's market of players.
I remember that.
And guess what? Now the NFL has some problems that baseball has, and let me explain. So Deshaun Watson, as these two just mentioned, got a lot of money, and then got a lot more money, and still gets the money even though he's been involved in discipline for his conduct at the massage parlor. So, not great. Now what we're looking at, though, is a bunch of wide receivers who go, well, I catch the passes the quarterbacks throw. Give me more money. And then you got wide receivers getting more money. And now you have Kyler Murray going, but I'm the franchise face of the Cardinals. I need the same amount of money that Deshaun Watson did. And then he pretty much got it, a $230 million contract with like a 9-figure guaranteed sum. So, whoops. What's going to happen now? Lamar Jackson's in contract talks with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's won an MVP, has never been involved in any shady business. So what are the Ravens going to do when they renegotiate a contract for him?
Let me interrupt you 1 second. People maybe don't know, but Lamar doesn't have anybody representing him. No agent, his mother and family.
I didn't know that.
And think about how smart he is. He took a page out of Smoking Jim's book. Don't do anything.
No, he's good.
He could have settled. He could have settled for $150 million last year.
Yep.
Look what it's up now.
Yeah.
So all he has to do, what I think, is put a contract with $240 million on the table, and he goes, take it or leave it. I'm going to play out my contract.
I feel like somebody's going to pay him that much money, though. But this is the problem that
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. This is a problem that we get into, though, and this is why I believe baseball should have a salary cap and redo its revenue streams, and I've said that before. But football's not going to deal with a problem where you're going to invest so much in one player that you're not going to be able to pay elite talent, and then the NFL is going to go through some sort of internal inflation where we don't know how to pay who because everybody's overvaluing themselves. But here's the kicker: whose fault is this? It's the Browns' fault. The Browns were made a laughingstock for the final time, they said. Deshaun Watson claimed he doesn't want to play for us. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to accommodate him in any way that we can. And you know who's upset about them doing that? The rest of the owners. The rest of the owners, they're upset. And the Browns released a statement yesterday. Respect the decision. We get it. It happened. But respect the decision. Because they want him to play. They want him to keep playing. Of course they're going to say, respect the decision. So, the Browns have created calamity within the league that's going to have some sort of repercussions that will last somewhere, I estimate, within the next 5 to 10 years of everybody getting overvalued and teams struggling to put together winning teams because it's all going to be about paying that one player a lump sum of money, and you're going to have 2 or 3 really good players on your team that don't get along, and they're not going to win anything because they can't afford to invest in the quality of the entire team.
But I think that what's going on is going to affect the NFL financially.
I just said that.
No.
You're with me.
No. They're going to lose money, and they're not going to be able to pay people the exorbitant fees that they were because this is going to hurt the NFL bad.
I heard that before.
But I mean, we're
There's
going to find
negativity
out.
coming
We're
out.
going to find out just how Teflon that shield.
He's
is.
actually being optimistic for the NFL. He's saying that the people have said that before.
No, that's negative against what's actually happening that you're talking about.
Yeah, so I mean, Chip hit on the points that I hit on. The whole system is going to deal with struggle financially now. And that's the opinion. But I just want you to remember, I told you.
You did.
Thank you, Nick. We appreciate it. Thanks, Chip. Thanks for Smoking Jim ending that, because right now the NFL is known as Teflon NFL.
Yes, sir.
We're going to find out.
We shall see. Stay tuned. On locations coming up. Right now, 10 seconds. Come on. Wow, that logo by A2 On Location is great with all those little places where we've been. Mark your calendar. August 11th, we'll be at Bethel Park Historical Society's Arts and History Center in the lobby area right in there. We're talking about being there, and we're going to have some guests lined up, so I'm going to get the guest book out. I'll try to consult Smoking Jim, maybe some non-sweeties that we will see, and we're excited about that. Then we have boxing coming up September 3rd with Monsville Prison, the haunted prison. Maybe Bo, who doesn't work for Pittsburgh Sportsline, will go. I invited him to go. He can bring his meters and stuff to see if there's ghosts around.
Yes.
And then the 24th, Christopher Ralph has us with prelim boxing in Southside. So we'll be doing that at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we got a few shows coming up. Got a couple other people reaching out to us.
And we have Cunningham, too.
Yes, we got, this just come up. I was telling Smoking Jim, Steve Cunningham with USS Fight Academy on August 13th at North Versailles. We'll be there for boxing matches. We may have the MVP. Steve said he would come out of retirement and film for us. So we're looking forward to that. So we got a bunch of on locations. We only got a couple minutes left. We covered a lot of interesting subjects and some controversial stuff. Whoever speaks up first can bring up a point.
Pirates have the bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the third. Bly Madras is up. And you know how they got their base runners?
No.
2 hit by pitches and a walk.
Whoa, they're on fire.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
They're playing the Milwaukee
Oh,
Brewers.
Smoking Jim thought he won yesterday.
Oh, you.
Did you? They
No.
they
He didn't
perform.
know they didn't play.
I think Smoking Jim would think that they perform better on off days than they do when they play.
And they have a hard time against the
Well,
Brewers.
'cause they
He
can't
lost
lose
when
on
He
it?
didn't bet, so he didn't know. He thought he lost.
They can't lose on an off day, can they?
They haven't yet. Thank you for letting us bring some nonsense up. Hope you enjoyed our show with some of the fiction, facts, and opinions. You know, we have a bunch of them. We just try to show, I like people's opinions. I respect them all, even if they're not based on any facts. And I won't put out who's guilty of that. But once in a while he does, and he did that. So we just like to have some fun. We're honored that you like watching our shows, and we appreciate the fans and the input. And if you tell your friends that we do Facebook Live, we're looking at actually doing a Facebook Live at the Historical Society. So if Nick can make it there, we're going to have Facebook Live. We'll be back next Thursday on the 13th. Sometime after 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock to 8. So we're looking forward to that. It'll be Nick's first time on location with guests. So he's been here 2 years now. Yeah. It's time to get him out in the public a little bit more. Well, thanks again for watching. We appreciate it. Thanks to all of our volunteers, Josh Fabus, Steve, Corey, A1, A2, and Nick. Stay Joey strong.